time, your gateway to the world. AFR! American Freedom Radio. Give it to them.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and happy Tuesday. It is May 21, 2013. Hope you had a beautiful weekend and a lovely day. It is so good to have you all here tonight. Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. We have a very special show in store for you tonight with Master Herbalist Green Witch Susun Weed. She is the author of several books. Her first book was written in 1995, Wise Woman Herbal for the Childbearing Years, now in its 29th printing, followed by Healing Wise in 1989, New Menopausal Years, The Wise Woman Way, and Breast Cancer, Breast Health, The Wise Woman Way. She, in addition to her writing, she trains apprentices literally all over the world through online correspondence courses, in-person workshops, shamanic apprenticeships, etc. And I'm so excited to have her here tonight. Her website, you can go to wisewomanweb.com, and that will connect you to all of her work on her workshops.
No, SusunWeed.com.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I've got your Wise Woman Web. Okay.
SusunWeed.com is where
all right. Well,
yeah.
Let's do that then.
And I do keep the sun in Susun, but if they misspell it and spell it Susan, it's okay. We own that website too.
All right. SusunWeed.com. I'll change that. That'll make it easier for everyone anyways, but it's so good to have you back here tonight, Susun. How are you doing?
I'm so glad to be back with you, Christy, and to see and feel how well you're doing and how you're thriving, and to be back to share more green blessings with all the listeners.
I can't wait. Tonight, we're going to kind of talk about your favorite herbs for a high-energy lifestyle. So if anybody has any questions or comments, you can join us in the chat over at souljourneysradio.com, or you can give us a call at 218-339-8525. That's 218-339-8525, and again, the website is SusunWeed.com. That's SusunWeed.com, and woohoo! You are one busy woman, so thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend a couple hours here with us tonight.
Oh, it makes me very joyous to get this opportunity. Thank you for inviting me.
Excellent. All right. Well, big topic, herbs, of course. I'm sure it's hard to, Susun, what are your favorite herbs? That could probably turn into a 4-month conversation. So maybe we can, I'd like to, in regards to your books, and the information you've been putting out there, there's kind of a big topic right now. Of course, you wrote a book on, and a lot of information on your sites about breast care and cancer prevention. I was thinking maybe we can kind of talk about that, since it's all the rage now, self-mutilation and cutting off your breasts for preventing cancer. But in your experience, there is a better way to prevent cancer, is there not?
Well, let me start off by saying that each woman is going to choose the path that is best for her, and that I absolutely respect Angelina Jolie and the choice that she made, and I do not in any way think of it as self-mutilation.
Okay.
She made a wise and decision choice, given what she knows and what she wants from her life.
That's true. Yeah.
Last night, I did a teleseminar on this topic, and when you go to SusunWeed.com, there should be a link there to that teleseminar. And a woman called in, and she said that she has that genetic mutation, the BRCA1, and that both of her sisters have had prophylactic mastectomies and oophorectomies, but that she was choosing not to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So there are women who are making a wide variety of choices, and every one of those women is to be respected. There's nothing wrong with the choice that her sisters made. But she wanted other information, and you're asking for that information too, and I'm certainly happy to share that. Let's start first with ovarian cancer, because this mutation causes ovarian cancer if you simply remove the breasts. When we first started doing prophylactic mastectomies, we just did that, and almost all of those women died of ovarian cancer. And so now it's a dual operation. If you're going to choose a prophylactic mastectomy, you also choose a prophylactic oophorectomy. You have your ovaries removed at the same time. And interestingly enough, women who take ginkgo tincture at least once a day for 6 months or more reduce their risk of ovarian cancer by 57%.
Okay. Wow.
Now, that's a pretty easy thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Right, fairly inexpensive. You know, a bottle full of the tincture will last you for 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about something that we see across the board, no matter what is happening with women, that we get this very big reduction. Now, the other thing that will reduce the risk of ovarian cancer will reduce the risk of ovarian cancer by 1,000%. Is taking birth control pills.
Wow.
And women who are concerned about breast cancer, women who are concerned about ovarian cancer, I tell them to look at the risk reduction that they will get if they take birth control pills. And this holds true for women with these genetic mutations, the BRCA mutations. Taking birth control pills reduces their risk of ovarian cancer by 1,000% and their risk of breast cancer by 500%.
Okay, so what about for people that do not want chemical hormones like birth control pills and such? Can you talk about...
then you might want to do a prophylactic mastectomy is what I'm saying.
Okay,
there's all different ways to do things, and certainly you will get some risk reduction from taking ginkgo tincture, but if we're looking for a magic bullet, let me tell you right out, there is no magic bullet. I met a woman who was born on an organic farm, has eaten only 100% organic food her entire life from, the moment of conception on, and carries this gene, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 32.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So certainly eating 4 servings of cabbage family plants will reduce overall risk of cancer by 50% if we eat 4 servings a week. We know that the more garlic and onions that we eat, the lower our overall risk of cancer. We know that the better nourished we are, the better our immune system will function, and thus the lower our risk of cancer. And in terms of breast cancer, probably one of the strongest contributors to breast cancer is a hormone that is made by our own bodies called estradiol or estradiol. And this hormone starts being made at puberty. Human women start making estrogen from fat cells in the adrenal glands as well as the ovaries in utero. So we are actually replete with estrogen from about 5 months gestation. And we have those 29 baseline estrogens being made every single day of our lives. From months before we're born until the very day we die. So there's never any situation in which any woman is estrogen deficient.
Mm-hmm.
However, we do make another estrogen, a 30th estrogen, as I said, estradiol or estradiol. And we make that starting at puberty and ending at menopause. And this hormone is to breast cancer as kerosene is to fire.
Okay.
That is, kerosene cause fire.
Yeah. Well,
No.
yeah, it does seem like most
kerosene does not
women are
cause fire.
diagnosed.
Just having kerosene around is not going to cause a fire. But if we have a spark in kerosene, we don't just have a little fire, we have a big conflation. And the same thing. Having estradiol in our bodies, and our own bodies make it, is not going to give us breast cancer unless we have this particular mutation.
Mm-hmm.
And then our risk of getting breast cancer over a 5-year period is about 87%, which is a very big risk. So one of the things that we used to do when a woman was diagnosed with breast cancer was to remove her ovaries, but nowadays instead we give her tamoxifen. And tamoxifen is a short-path estrogen. Estradiol is a long-path estrogen. And so what tamoxifen literally does is it goes by a shorter path. It gets to the cellular receptor site on the cancer cell sooner. It fills in that receptor site. It blocks the activity of estradiol, and the cancer can't eat it.
Yeah.
And there are many plants that have the same short-path estrogens. Not exactly the same. As a matter of fact, there's over 10,000 different kinds of estrogens, if we count human estrogens, xenoestrogens, and phytoestrogens. So the estrogen receptor site is a generalized receptor site and will accept a great variety of different things. And thus we can trick the cancer cells by eating things like lentils, which contain these short-path estrogens, just like are found in tamoxifen, a drug that's given to prevent breast cancer and a drug that's given to women with a diagnosis to help prevent recurrence. So we know absolutely that it works. We also can get short-path estrogens from red clover, and I find the tincture not very effective, and I find pills absolutely, totally ineffective. So I usually use red clover as an infusion. Now, red clover tea is what most people think of when they think of an herbal beverage. They think, oh, yeah, you take a tea bag, you put it in a cup of hot water, you dunk it up and down, and then you drink it. And herbal teas are wonderful. I have nothing against them, but they're not really going to get us what we want in terms of medicine. So we're going to take 1 full ounce by weight of dried red clover, put it in a quart jar, fill that jar right up to the top with boiling water. But the red clover, because it's dried, is going to absorb some of that water, so we're going to stir it a little bit with a wooden spoon. And then add more water until the jar is again full to the top. Put a tight lid on it and let it sit just like that. No further heat required for at least 4 hours. I'll tell you the truth, I usually do it overnight.
Yeah.
And then we strain that out, squeezing the herb to get all the good out of it, and put that in the refrigerator, and we drink it throughout the day. Red clover is one of the world's leading cancer preventative and cancer curative herbs, and yet its primary use is as a fodder for pregnant and lactating cows. It's that safe. There's a lot of misinformation about red clover out on the website. As a matter of fact, somebody called me and said, well, the Memorial Sloan Kettering website says that red clover is unsafe for women with a breast cancer diagnosis. I said, oh, is this information that is being given by the herbalist who works at Memorial Sloan Kettering? And this person laughed and said, there's no herbalist working there. I said, oh, well, then right away we know this is secondhand information. And are they crediting where they got this information from? Because no herbalist believes this. Because we understand the difference between short-path estrogens and long-path estrogens. Long-path estrogens include most xenoestrogens, most of the estrogens in the environment. But they do also include some herbs like soy. Soy contains long-path estrogens and can actually promote breast cancer. So if we're concerned about breast cancer, we're not going to have soy in our diet, except for tamari and miso. Tamari and miso
isn't it fermented soy affects the body different than the GMO soy that we're able to get here in the States?
Well, even if you had GMO, miso, and tamari, they would still be anti-cancer.
Okay. Interesting. Huh.
It's the fermentation that changes them.
Okay.
And the fermentation gets rid of various constituents and substances in the soy that seem to promote, not cause, but promote breast cancer. So, as a matter of fact, miso and tamari are some of the few substances in which the more we consume, the lower our risk of cancer.
Interesting.
It is. Remember I said that 4 servings of something in the cabbage family per week would reduce our overall cancer incidence by 50%. Well, now, many people say to me, well, gosh, I could eat 8 servings. That's not hard. I mean, we're talking about broccoli and cauliflower and kale and radishes and turnips and horseradish and mustard greens and arugula. and broccoli de rape and Brussels sprouts. There's just so many things. Rutabagas, right? In this family that easily eat 8 servings a week. Serving's only half a cup, but it won't give us any greater protection against cancer.
It sounds like the tree frogs and the crickets want to come join us.
Oh, do you need me to move inside?
No, I love it.
Okay,
we were just,
all right.
mentioning it on the
it was
chat.
very hot here today, and, it switched very rapidly, and so the inside of the house is very, very hot, so I thought I would sit outside.
No, we love the sound effects.
All right, wonderful. If it gets too much, just let me know, and we can go inside for sure.
No, we wouldn't expect anything different.
Okay. Then lentils,
totally
lentils have short path estrogens too.
Okay, I love lentils. So
yeah,
let's learn
and there's
more
all
about
different
lentils.
kinds. It's not just the green lentils, but there's those red lentils that cook up so fast, and then the little black lentils, sometimes called French lentils or caviar lentils. So there's all different kinds of ways to enjoy lentils. And let me tell you what I think is most exciting about both lentils and red clover. Not only do they have these great short path estrogens, which literally block the cancer cells from being able to eat, but they also contain a repair kit. Mm-hmm. And they can actually repair damaged, even genetically damaged DNA.
Ah, well, that is really good to know, Susan. But hang on, I hear the music. It is that time. Let's definitely continue this conversation after this short break. Stay tuned, everyone. We are going to be right back with Susun Weed here on SoulJourneysRadio.com.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
No rules. No rules. No taboo topics. No taboo topics. No fear of doom. No fear of doom. We are American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
Right, welcome back, and thanks for joining us here tonight. Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. And if you would like to join us in the text chat, our beautiful, happy little soul family, that's over at SoulJourneysRadio.com. And any questions or comments, please feel free to give us a call at 218-339-8525. That's 218-339-8525. Our special guest tonight is Susun Weed, and we're going to kind of be focusing on the best herbs for a high-energy lifestyle. And that's right, I can't leave out the special guests, the cute little tree frogs and crickets that we all get to hear. That's awesome. I love the sound effects, Susan.
It's such a lovely evening here at Laughing Rock Farm.
Oh, it is. I bet.
We just had a little bit of rain, which we very much needed, and so you're so right. The frogs are so happy.
They sound happy, and they're making us happy, too. So, okay, so we left off talking about how lentils actually have a property that can help repair your DNA.
Yes, and red clover, too.
And red clover. Awesome, because
Both
I love those
contain a repair kit. You know, when a cell replicates, the DNA, which is a double helix, kind of comes untwisted, right? Mm-hmm. And then the RNA comes and, measures it and then makes something that matches to make the new cell. And so what happens is constituents in the lentils or the red clover, right at that point, right at transcription, come in and say, oh, no. This is not the right way to do it. This is how it's supposed to be. And so those cells those BRCA mutations, bit by bit, are actually replaced by healthy cells.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I do believe that we have the ability to repair our DNA or change that at any time. Let me ask you this. I know a lot of us want to focus on, well, this is the one way to health. This is the only way, and you have to take this supplement or drink this tea or eat this particular food. But isn't it true that health there's much more to it than just what you're putting in your body food-wise?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. Okay.
Bacteria.
Okay.
And the state of your health and the state of your emotions and the state of your energy and the state of your creativity all comes down to the bacteria that are in and on your body. For every cell in your body, and there's like 100 trillion cells in your body, really a lot. For every cell in your body, there are 10 bacteria in your body.
Yeah, we're pretty much just walking bacteria as it is, aren't we?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we are more and more understanding that when those bacteria are not healthy and not varied, then just like soil where the bacteria aren't healthy and varied, we can't grow good health. So you're quite right. In a way, it doesn't matter what you eat if you don't have the gut bacteria to deal with it. And actually, this is something I wanted to talk about in terms of red clover and lentils and phytoestrogens in general. And phytoestrogens are so widespread in the plant community that, in fact, they are found in every seed. Every single seed contains phytoestrogens, and that would include all beans and all nuts and all grains, all of which are seeds. And, of course, it would include any fruit in which we eat the seeds, like raspberries or strawberries or kiwi fruits. So all roots contain phytoestrogens, and that would include carrots and sweet potatoes. And many leaves also contain phytoestrogens. So again, when people say, ooh, this website said that red clover isn't safe because it contains phytoestrogens, I have to laugh and say, well, did they tell you not to eat anything except meat then?
Yeah, and I just want to clear something up here, Susan. I didn't really, maybe it came out that way, but I didn't mean to say that it doesn't matter what we eat. I do know from firsthand experience it is a contributing factor, but it's not the only factor. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Well,
okay. I just wanted to clear that up because I don't want people to say, Christie said I can eat Doritos and bonbons and be healthy, and maybe you can, but
there should be room in a healthy diet for a bonbon now and then.
For sure.
Right.
Exactly. Just not every day, all day.
Just not every day, all day. Exactly, which is why we want to drink our nourishing herbal infusions. So, the gut bacteria have to act on these phytoestrogens in order to make them biologically active in human bodies. Remember, they're phytoestrogens, they're plant estrogens. So they're active in plant bodies, but they aren't active in human bodies. And our gut has bacteria that can bioconvert phytoestrogens into active human short-path estrogens. And there's been some pretty interesting studies done with this. Here's, to me, one of the most interesting. They took 100 women, and they fed them something very high in phytoestrogens, like lentils, or like flax seeds, or like sweet potatoes, or like red clover, with short-path estrogens. Now, when our gut flora can actively convert these into human active hormones, it goes through a metabolic process that causes certain metabolic byproducts to be made, which we can find in the urine.
Yeah.
So we fed these 100 women a serving of this food, and then we looked in their urine, and we could see how much of it was converted into active short-path estrogens in their body. The 25 women who excreted the least, in other words, who did the least conversion, had 400% more breast cancer than the top 25 women.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So while it is important to eat foods that contain phytoestrogens to prevent breast cancer, if gut flora is not there, then it's not really going to do the trick. So, next question we have, obviously, is how do we get good, healthy gut flora? And associated with that, what kills gut flora?
Mm-hmm.
Now, most people, as soon as I say what kills gut flora, they say antibiotics, and they are right. Antibiotics kill gut flora. As a matter of fact, the most recent research has found that any child given a course of antibiotics during their first year of life is likely to wind up obese.
Mm.
Because of the killing of gut flora at a very sensitive time during a child's life. But let's face it, most of us aren't taking antibiotics on a regular basis. There are a few conditions in which it's recommended to take it on a regular basis, and there are times when, somebody says, wow, I think I might have Lyme disease. I say go get some antibiotics. There are certainly times to use them. But certainly they're not the only thing that kills gut flora. As a matter of fact, all municipal water systems put something in the water to kill bacteria, right?
Yeah.
And that's called?
Well, chlorine.
Chlorine, exactly. Yeah. So when we drink chlorinated water, we are killing gut flora.
So what do you think about
it's fairly easy to get a filter to get the chlorine out of your water. It's also easy just to boil it. And when we made the red clover infusion, remember we boiled the water, so we boiled the chlorine out.
Okay.
And that's good, because otherwise it would be useless. We wouldn't be able to activate those phytoestrogens. Also, just putting the water in a big open container and letting it sit out for 24 to 36 hours will allow chlorine to naturally dissipate. It is a gas. However, it apparently will cause more problems with gut flora to take a shower in chlorinated water than to drink chlorinated water.
Yeah.
Because it is a gas, and we inhale it from the hot water in the shower. So a shower filter is probably as important, if not more important, than getting it out of your drinking water. But
Absolutely.
Again, that's pretty easy to do, and I could be wrong, but I'm thinking that many of your listeners, like myself, don't have to worry about that because we're in control of our water supply.
Most of us, yes.
Exactly. So we can just say no to chlorine. So then we need to look at food preservatives.
Yeah, let me ask you this, Susan, in regards to the gut flora and bacteria and antibiotics. Now, what is your opinion on taking like oregano oil or other natural antibiotics?
Well, I'm just about to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just about to get there.
Oh, all right. So
okay, but let's go just along the path so that you'll be with me.
Okay.
Okay, so food preservatives are there to do what?
Preserve food.
The bacteria.
Allegedly.
Right? Just like the chlorine is in the water to kill bacteria, the food preservatives are in the food to kill bacteria. Right, to prevent spoilage, to kill bacteria. That's what we mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whenever we eat a food that has a food preservative in it of any kind, it kills our gut flora. And that's 0.1% of sodium, potassium sorbate. Yeah. Any food preservative is going to kill our gut flora.
Yeah.
Now, we have established that things that kill bacteria kill gut flora, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So I would like you then to answer your question about oregano oil. Does it kill bacteria?
Oh, well, it certainly does. I was just wondering if it kills healthy
kills
bacteria.
Gut flora.
What's that?
It kills gut flora.
Okay, so even the healthy bacteria.
It kills everything. As a matter of fact, I would say that the most dangerous thing to your gut flora, listeners here, is essential oils.
Oh, wow.
I will not have essential oils in my house. I will not use any product with essential oils. I certainly won't brush my teeth with a toothpaste that contains essential oils, rinse my mouth with a mouthwash that contains essential oils, wash my body with a body wash that contains essential oils, wash my hair with a hair wash that contains essential oils, or put on a body lotion that contains essential oil.
Okay. All right. I actually
They all kill bacteria.
Interesting. Huh. Okay.
That's what essential oils do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we could very profitably spend a very long time, the whole rest of this conversation and then on into months ahead, talking about what is a drug. But if we could just go along with my definition for now, although it may be flawed to you, perhaps we can learn something. So I define a drug as something that does not grow out of the ground and something that cannot be made in the kitchen. So, just to give some examples, marijuana is not a drug because it grows out of the ground.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right. A tincture of a plant is not a drug because it can be made in a kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Does an essential oil grow out of the ground?
Oh, it doesn't.
No, it does not. Can it be made in a kitchen?
Well, if you have a distiller, I suppose.
Don't have a distiller in your kitchen.
I don't.
No one has a distiller in their kitchen. Distillers are usually bigger.
Yeah.
You can make something that's before an essential oil in your kitchen, which is called an absolute. But you can't make an essential oil. Now, let's move just a little deeper into this. When I first started studying herbal medicine and teaching herbal medicine back in the 60s, people would say, well, herbs couldn't possibly work. And I would say, well, of course herbs work. Drugs are made from herbs. Have you ever heard that?
Well, yeah, I remember reading in a book when I first started in herbalism, and just because I read it in a book does not necessarily make it true, but they said the word drug derived from the word druga that meant to dry, as in to dry the herb.
Exactly.
All right. So
totally.
I did something in a book that was true. Yippee!
So we have this very smooth path from herbalist to druggist to pharmacist.
Mm-hmm.
And how we get there is by isolating constituents, concentrating those constituents, and then purifying them.
Yes.
So if we start with a plant and we want to make a drug, we isolate, we concentrate, and we purify. How do we make an essential oil?
Pretty much just what you described, but honey, it is that time, so let's continue this after this short break. Stay tuned, everyone. Susun Weed, SusunWeed.com is the website. You're joining us here tonight. SoulJourneysRadio.com. Stay tuned.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
Yo, what's up? Check this out. The voice of the revolution. American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
All right, welcome back, and thanks for joining us here tonight with our special guest, Susun Weed, the best herbs for a high-energy lifestyle. SusunWeed.com is her website. And we left off talking about essential oils. So, and I do just want to say this. Again, there's lots of comments in the chat and such going on. And, you know, we're all free to agree to disagree, and it's all good. We're all students and teachers of one another, and we all have something to learn. And, you know, with that being said, essential oils have changed my life tremendously. I don't know if you know, Susan, but 5 years ago I was paralyzed from the waist down, and 17 years ago I was told I had 6 months to live. I would never walk again, and of course I made a complete recovery due to nutrition and essential oils. So that is something that works for me, but that doesn't mean
say they didn't work. Drugs work.
Oh, yeah. And
drugs work. Drugs work great.
Mm-hmm. And I totally like what you're saying.
Who would ever say the drugs don't work? I'm merely saying they're drugs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's all.
I agree.
I didn't in any way say they don't work. As a matter of fact, what I'm saying is that they work.
Oh, I understand.
They do work. They're highly effective at killing bacteria, and they kill gut flora.
Yeah.
And they kill gut flora better than most antibiotics do because they're in our daily lives.
Yeah.
And most of us are not taking antibiotics on a daily basis. And what I have found is that the great majority of people find an absolute increase in health when they start kicking essential oils out of their life.
Mm. Okay.
Because there are other things besides drugs that work. Drugs do work, but there are other things that work too. And that's what I like about herbal medicine. Is that I don't have to use drugs. I don't have to resort to drugs.
Yeah,
now, maybe you did, and again, I wouldn't question what you did in any way. I always believe that each person makes exactly the right choice for themselves at the time.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. But we don't want to confuse drugs that are so powerful they can relieve your paralysis with things that are safe to use on a daily basis in toothpaste.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And I think it's a pretty valid point. That we wouldn't want to use something as powerful as you know essential oils to be in a everyday way. If I said to you, my God, I'm alive, I had this terrible infection, and the only thing that kept me alive was antibiotics, and you said, yes, but Susan, I'm telling you, I don't think you should brush your teeth with antibiotics. Well, I'd have to agree with you. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with that, for sure.
They work, but they're not for every day, and they do not promote health, although they can, like all drugs, be used to reverse serious conditions.
Yeah, definitely. I like your
and that's what drugs are for. That's why we have drugs, because sometimes things get a little out of hand. Mm-hmm. And then using softer things isn't going to work. We need to come in with those heavy-duty drugs. Thank goodness for drugs. I just don't want to use them on a daily basis. And so that's the kind of thing that we're talking about. We're talking about, your initial thing was, how do we keep our breasts healthy? What do we do here? And what I said was, well, there's a very useful herb, and that's red clover. But it's not going to be of any use unless you have the gut flora to bioconvert those phytoestrogens, and what is primarily killing gut flora in most of the people that I know is essential oils. Mm-hmm. That's not speaking against essential oils. It's simply saying that if you use them, you'll probably have more breast cancer.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I'm in a situation like, actually I was when I had a bite about 5 months ago, doctors are trying to offer me vaccines and man-made antibiotics and surgery, and I chose essential oils, and the infection was gone in 2 days. So that's my choice. You know, if
and
given a situation.
would have done that too, and it's not a drug.
And a what?
Echinacea would have done the same thing, and it's not a drug.
Oh, is echinacea known to clear out tetanus infections?
Yes.
All right. That's good to know. So you would drink it as an infusion?
No.
Okay. How would you take it?
Directly in the wound, and I would take 1 drop of the tincture of Echinacea augustifolia, not purpurea, for every 2 pounds of my body weight, and I would take that on an hourly basis.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know.
And the great thing, about Echinacea tincture is that you can make your own. Whereas, as we've already established, we can't make our own essential oils. And so when we use essential oils, we become puppets of the economy. We become puppets of other people. We are at a place where people can pull our strings. We are not free anymore so long as we're using essential oils. It's only when we use herbs that we are free, because then we have people's medicine at our disposal. Then, even if we choose to buy a product for convenience, we could, and we know we could, grow it or harvest it and make it ourselves. True freedom.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It is essential to, somebody posted something recently mentioning how nobody knows anything about geography, but they know the personal lives of every celebrity. And, I kind of turned that around. I'm like, we don't even know the weeds in our lawn.
Wonderfully said. I love it, Chrissy. That's perfect.
We know the personal lives of people they want us to know about, and we don't even know what's growing in our lawn. I think that's pretty pathetic and disconnected from nature, but I know you're doing quite a bit to help people reconnect with what's going on. And, as you mentioned, getting back to breast health, red clover is awesome. Lentils are good. What else would you recommend for cancer prevention and breast care?
Well, a woman who gives birth before the age of 20 is virtually immune to breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's not too late, listener, you might want to consider it.
Okay.
More pregnancies that a woman has, the less breast cancer she will have.
Amazing.
The sooner she comes to menopause and stops menstruating, the less breast cancer she will have.
Huh.
Because all of these things are tied to estradiol. Remember that dangerous hormone?
Dangerous woman?
The dangerous hormone that we make, the dangerous estrogen, estradiol or estradiol.
Mm-hmm.
And we only make it for about 36 hours out of each month, and yet even 1 day less of making this hormone confers a reduction in risk in terms of breast cancer.
Wow. Interesting.
So if you breastfeed for 3 months and you're not making estradiol when you're breastfeeding, then you have a noticeably lower risk of breast cancer.
Wow. Okay.
Every time you're pregnant, you aren't making estradiol, and so you have a lower risk of breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So you were asking before, well, women who don't want to take birth control pills, what could they do instead? They could get pregnant. It's another good way to prevent breast cancer. And, of course, that's how it is that birth control pills prevent breast cancer, because they mimic pregnancy.
Okay. All right.
And we are in a hormonal state of pregnancy where you're not making estradiol, and estradiol is to breast cancer as kerosene is to fire. So anything we do that turns off estradiol, even for a single day, reduces our risk of breast cancer.
Okay.
So those are some of the most important things that I can tell you about that. I will also say that mammograms are not early detection, and they're certainly not preventive medicine.
Yeah, of course not.
A breast cancer cell is very, very tiny. And in the normal case, if we can use the word normal to refer to breast cancer, in the normal case of breast cancer, the doubling rate is every 100 days. That means there's one breast cancer cell, and then 100 days later there's 2. And 100 days later there's 4. And 100 days, or almost at the end of the first year, there's 8. Now, the smallest breast cancer that can be seen on a mammogram consists of no fewer than 1 million cells. And if you can do the math fast in your brain, or you have a calculator handy, you will find that it's going to take about 7 years for one cell to become 1 million cells by doubling every 100 days. And so what that means is that cancer has been in your body and been growing in your body for 7 years before it could possibly be seen on a mammogram. And in fact, most cancers are about 10 million cells when they're seen on a mammogram, so that's about 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
And what could we do if we think that something is going on, but our doctor says something isn't going on? Well, we could do all of the things that we've been talking about doing, but there's another thing that we might consider doing, and there's some pretty strong evidence for doing it. I wouldn't do it unless I really thought that something was amiss, or really got an inner sense that breast cancer was brewing in my breast. And they have asked women who have been diagnosed with breast cancer by biopsy. In other words, they've had surgery which has found breast cancer.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Susan. We're going to get cut off here.
I have the music, too. We got to wait for the music.
Yep, so hold that, dear. We will be right back at the top of the second hour with Susun Weed here on SoulJourneysRadio.com.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
No rules, no rules. No taboo topics, no taboo topics. No fear of doom, no fear of doom. We are American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
All right, welcome back. Top of the second hour here tonight, Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. Thank you all for joining us here tonight with Susun Weed. The website is, SusunWeed.com. She also does a radio show, and again, tons of information on her website. Has written 5 books on breast health, childbearing years, menopausal years, sexual health and reproduction, as well as performs workshops and correspondence courses. The Wise Woman Way, and we're kind of talking about the best herbs for high energy lifestyle, and specifically right now, breast health. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to give us a call at 218-339-8525. That's 218-339-8525. And if you would like to join us for the text chat, that's over at SoulJourneysRadio.com. And Susan, we left off. You were going to tell us a story or about something that you said might work in severe circumstances in regards to breast cancer. And this is specifically for those who have had a biopsy and know for sure that it's cancerous. So please continue.
Yes, that it's cancer, and that it's early stage cancer. We're talking about stage 0 or stage 1 by modern staging methods. And in studies that have been done several times now, they have taken women with this kind of diagnosis and men with this kind of diagnosis for prostate cancer. In other words, confirmed cancer by biopsy, stage 0 or stage 1, very early cancer. And then they give these volunteers a muffin every day for 30 days. And half of them get a muffin that contains 3 tablespoons full of ground flaxseed cooked into the muffin while it's baking.
Oh, okay.
Half of them get a muffin. And the people who are giving them the muffins don't know what's in the muffins, and the people who are getting the muffins don't know what's in the muffins, but the surgeons say they know what's in the muffins, because all of these people in these studies have agreed to then have surgery to have their cancer removed. And the surgeons say that they can tell which people have gotten the flaxseed muffins because their cancers are gone or shrunk by half.
Oh, excellent. So flaxseed is another cancer preventative in your experience.
But let's be clear about how it must be used. It must be ground. Yes. Mm-hmm. It must be baked. and 3 tablespoons a day.
All right, so must be ground.
A little bit of flax on your food is going to do nothing.
Okay.
A little bit of ground flaxseed is probably going to have detrimental effects.
Okay.
So I am really, literally, again, talking about people who had a cancer diagnosis, or if they're not going to go that routine, had a very strong personal sense that there is cancer going on in the prostate or in the breast, and then it is certainly worthwhile to eat this much flaxseed so long as it is ground and baked.
Okay.
And it is not flax oil. My
not flax
lipid
oil.
chemist friends say that flax oil is cancer in a can.
Really? Okay.
And they would
That's
have absolutely nothing ever to do with it, and advise me to have nothing to do with it.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard the flax should definitely be ground up because it's really hard on our digestion, but can you give us a little more insight on why it must be baked?
Yes. All seeds are the babies of plants. And no parent puts their baby into the world without protection.
Oh, okay.
So plants protect their babies just as we protect our babies. And plants have 2 primary ways of protecting their babies. One, they put something very hard around their baby so that if we eat it, it passes through our digestive system unharmed.
Okay.
Have you ever eaten sesame seeds or sunflower seeds or even corn on the cob and noticed the result?
Yeah, I've definitely eaten a lot of sesame seeds and sunflower seeds.
And you see them come right through, huh?
Gosh, I'm going to have to pay closer attention.
Close attention. You eat those seeds whole, they're going to come right through your body, ready to plant.
Oh, okay.
You get no nutrition from them at all if you eat them whole.
Yeah, that makes sense. So
right?
they're just not in a way that our body can easily digest
They have
it.
a hard seed coat for the purpose of being eaten and passed through the digestive system unharmed.
Okay.
Right, so this is one of the ways that plants protect their seeds, is by giving them a hard seed coat. Now, we can get around that by grinding, can't we?
Yeah, definitely.
So we grind wheat, and we roll oats, and we grind flax seeds, and we do all kinds of things to grains, which are seeds, to get past this hard coat.
Mm-hmm.
However, if we just do that, then the second line of plant defense comes in, which is the plants imbue their babies with a host of different poisons.
Okay.
And they are in the seeds. Some of these are direct poisons. In other words, if we eat enough of the seeds, we will die. A young man collected a quart of apple seeds, ground them, ate them, and killed himself.
Okay.
Okay? If he'd just eaten the whole apple seeds, he wouldn't have died.
Yeah.
But because he ground them and made that compound available, he was, in fact, able to kill himself by doing this. We don't suggest it. It's not a pleasant way to go. All right? So poisonous compounds are one part of this defense. Also, carcinogenic chemicals. And the seeds are imbued with carcinogenic chemicals that are about 10,000 times more carcinogenic than any man-made chemical. And these carcinogenic chemicals are especially activated by sprouting.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you about soaking and sprouting.
Whenever we soak and sprout, we are making that seed the best possible thing for giving us cancer.
Wow. And what's the
There is no native culture on this planet that eats sprouts.
Okay.
Because they couldn't have survived it. In China, mung bean sprouts are eaten, but they are not sprouts anymore. They have true leaves, and they are always cooked.
Okay.
So if you want to persist in what I consider dangerous behavior of eating sprouts, they're one of the 3 leading causes of death from food poisoning in the United States. then at least cook them.
Okay, so is this in all sprouted beans and grains?
All sprouts contain carcinogenic chemicals, correct. As a matter of fact, if you're a gardener, and this is the time you're planting many seeds, watch what happens in your garden. No insect, no bird, nothing will eat a sprout. They wait until there's true leaves.
Huh. Okay.
Because sprouts are lethal.
Huh. There seems to be the raw food craze and the sprouting craze, whether it's wheatgrass or barley.
The Darwin Award means that this person is not fit to reproduce.
Okay.
And so their behavior takes them out of the reproduction pool, and people who eat a raw food diet, people who eat vegan diets, 50% of those women become infertile within the first year, and of those, 50% will never be able to get pregnant.
Wow.
So I am serious. It is a Darwin Award for such stupidity, and I use this word with great respect, because we can take brain scans of people eating these diets, and their brains are 25 to 35% smaller than normal. These kinds of diets shrink the brain and literally cause people to be stupid.
Wow.
Which is why they're eating these diets that cannot support human life and that none of our ancestors would ever have considered eating. I call them deprived diets. And I personally really don't care if men eat that way, but I get all hot and bothered about women eating that way because women need to take care of themselves. And for some reason that I don't really understand, and I've never had a man tell me I'm wrong about this, men seem to thrive when they're tortured.
Isn't that the truth?
Isn't it? Women don't. And so a diet that is deprived could actually be good for a man, but it's never going to be good for a woman. If you want to learn more about raw versus cooked, look up my YouTube, The Raw versus Cooked Debate.
Definitely. Okay,
you will
I totally will.
Just tons of material showing you, basically, I can tell you in a few words, nothing in nature eats any raw food. There is no nutrition of any kind available from raw food, and people who say they are eating a raw food diet are actually eating a great amount of what I consider cooked food, because cooking is not only achieved through heating.
Okay.
There are actually 5 ways to break the cell wall or to cook your food. Heat, certainly, but cold does it as well. Freezing will break the cell wall. Dehydration, fermentation, and soaking or covering in oil.
Okay.
And a great amount of the food that is eaten by so-called raw food people is covered in oil, dehydrated, or fermented. Now, in nature, any animal that is forced to try to get along by eating, mostly raw food, and even there they'll eat dehydrated grass over fresh grass, usually eats between 1/3 to 2/3 of its body weight in fresh food on a daily basis. A 1,000-pound elephant eats about 400 pounds of food a day.
Wow.
A 20-pound monkey eats about 15 pounds of fruit a day.
And, they would technically be raw, right?
Well, I would call them fermented, but what I'm saying is that animals that do try to get along on mostly raw food have to eat very close to their body weight or a significant portion of their body weight in raw food on a daily basis. In other words, a 100-pound person would need at a minimum to eat 35 pounds of raw food on a daily basis.
Okay. Now, what about, speaking of sprouts and soaking and all of that, somebody brought up nuts in the chat, and, allegedly
so actually, I didn't really get to finish, if I could just have the moment to finish so that I don't leave you hanging here.
Oh, okay.
We talked about plant seeds have seed coats to protect them, and they also have a host of different chemicals to protect them. Some of those chemicals are outright poisons, some of those chemicals are carcinogenic, and some of those chemicals are deactivated by heat. In the case of soy, those chemicals are not deactivated by heat. They are only deactivated by fermentation. Fermentation will deactivate almost all of these chemicals. The ones that I'm particularly talking about right now are phytates and a host of other chemicals that are together called anti-nutritional compounds. And they actually steal nutrients from the brain and from the immune system, because we're kind of going along a track about cancer here. And so whenever we eat a raw seed of any kind, whether it's a nut or any other kind of raw seed, we are depriving the immune system of the nourishment it needs to help us not get cancer.
Okay.
And those compounds are deactivated by heating. So when we roast our sunflower seeds, when we roast our nuts, when we bake our flax seeds, which is the question you ask, then those anti-nutritional compounds are deactivated, and that seed now becomes safe to eat, or in the case of some seeds, actively anti-cancer.
Okay.
Raw seeds can promote cancer. Seeds that have been treated with heat or fermented help to prevent cancer.
Okay, so you're saying raw seeds help to prevent cancer?
No, I say raw seeds help promote cancer.
Okay.
Okay,
right.
We do not want to eat raw fruits, raw vegetables, or raw seeds. We don't want to eat raw roots. If we want to eat raw things, we would want to eat raw eggs, raw milk, raw fish, raw meat, and raw insects.
Wow.
Those are the raw things in my diet.
Wow. Oh, what kind of insects do you eat?
Well, I actually traded one year with an entomologist, and he taught me which insects to eat in return for my teaching him which weeds to eat.
Uh-huh.
And, of course, insects are very high-quality protein. And I, would love to see more insect protein available for people who have yet to realize that all life is sacred.
Mm-hmm.
And so some people divide it up and say, no, this life is sacred, and so I'm not going to eat it, and this other life, it isn't sacred, and so I'm going to eat it. And so I'd at least like to have those confused people have access to insect protein, because it would improve their diet.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that all life is sacred, and in order to be alive, we must consume life. There's simply no getting around that. As a plant person, I am here to tell you that plants are at least as sensitive. Actually, they're more sensitive than animals. There is no out being a vegan. Come on. That's simply a person who is A, afraid to be alive, and B, unwilling to accept life from other sources.
That's an interesting way to look at it, because, isn't really everything on the planet living?
That's what I'm saying. Every single thing is living. In order to be alive, we must consume life. Right? It's only when we blind ourselves to the life of plants that we can separate them out and say, it's okay for me to kill a plant and eat it, and it's not okay for me to kill an animal and eat it. No, the plant is as sensitive, it is as aware as the animal is. We cannot make that distinction.
Okay. I agree with that.
The false distinction. Now, I personally believe that everything that I eat should be treated with honor and respect. And I would no more, murder a plant than I would murder an animal. I honor and respect what I eat. Hey, there's the music. Let's hear some ads.
Yep, it is that time, everyone. So hang on. We will be right back. And if you have anything to share, please feel free to give us a call, 218-339-8525. We will be right back.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
Welcome to the world's meeting place. American.
It's practically narcotic.
Freedom.
Oh, yes. I like it very much.
Radio.
They're an American institution.
American Freedom Radio.
All right, welcome back, and thanks for joining us here tonight. Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. Our special guest tonight is Susun Weed, and we are talking about herbs and breasts and cancer and all sorts of fun stuff here tonight. If you have any questions or comments, the caller line is open, 218-339-8525. That's 218-339-8525. And if you'd like to join us on the text chat, that's over at souljourneysradio.com. And Susun, let me ask you this. People brought up the Gerson therapy in the text chat for curing cancer. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, let me tell you that basically in the 50 years that I have been working with medicines, with herbal medicines, with alternative medicines, with a huge variety of things, I have never seen anything that does not work.
Okay.
Everything works.
Yeah,
Everything works for somebody sometimes. So in every one of my books, you will find a page near the beginning called The 6 Steps of Healing. I also have an online course called The 7 Rivers of Healing, same idea. And the 7 medicines or the 7 rivers or the 6 steps of healing. Wait, why is she saying 6 once and 7 once? You'll find out in just a minute. Step 0, which of course would be the first medicine. Step 0 is do nothing. And that is serenity medicine. That is meditation. That is more sleep. That is being with what's going on rather than against it.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And step 1 is collect information. And that's story medicine. What kind of story are you telling yourself about what's going on? So you gave us a beautiful example, Christie. The doctors gave you a story, which was you're never getting up out of this wheelchair, and you said, excuse me, I have a different story, and that story is I can heal myself.
Mm-hmm.
And this is story medicine. Story medicine is very deep and very profound.
Yeah.
And when we change our story, we change our prognosis, and we change how we live our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And often people say, well, that's like getting a second diagnosis. And I say, right. But if you go to a Western medical doctor and then you get a second diagnosis from another Western medical doctor, you didn't really get a second opinion. You need to go to a Oriental trained doctor, or you need to go to an herbalist or somebody who really could give you a second opinion, a different story, not just a same opinion within the same story, but really a different story. And then you could choose which story it is that you want to participate in. Story medicine. Step 2 is mind medicine. This is the 3rd river of healing. It's energy medicine. It's placebo medicine. It's engage the energy. And I say that this step is as wide as the human imagination. It is the shaman's playground. It includes flower essences, homeopathic remedies, bottles labeled with all kinds of labels that basically contain water or saline solution when you get right down to it and nothing much else. It contains gemstone elixirs here, prayer. It contains focused meditation, energy work, Reiki. All of that is in the 3rd river, mind medicine, which we could also with great respect, call placebo medicine. Nothing wrong with placebos.
Mm-hmm.
The third step in the 6 steps of healing, we had step 0, do nothing. Step 1, collect information. Step 2, engage the energy. And then step 3 is nourish and tonify. And so the fourth river is lifestyle medicine. How are we nourishing ourselves? How are we tonifying ourselves? At this point, we come to the Great Divide. And the first 4 medicines, so we have had serenity medicine, story medicine, mind medicine, and lifestyle medicine. These medicines always promote health. Every single time. Even if we don't reverse our problem or get rid of whatever's bothering us, we have still promoted health. We have increased our health by using these medicines. The next 3 medicines, the next 3 steps, will always decrease health even though they may get rid of our problem. So, in the 6 steps, step number 4 is to stimulate, sedate. Step number 5 is use drugs. And step number 6 is break and enter. So we would call this alternative and complementary medicines, pharmaceutical medicine, and high-tech medicine. And Dr. Gerson's technique would fall in alternative complementary medicine. So while it does work, because we just established that all of these medicines work, it also diminishes health. And so we can take that into mind. Now, these 7 medicines are set up in the order of first, do no harm. So serenity medicine never causes harm. Story medicine might cause harm. High-tech medicine always causes harm. And as I said, alternative medicine, pharmaceutical medicine, and high-tech medicine, and that includes essential oils, which are pharmaceutical medicine, always cause harm. That doesn't mean we can't repair that harm. That doesn't mean they don't work. That doesn't mean they can't reverse serious problems, but they cause harm while they're doing it.
Yeah.
There are certainly times for high-tech medicine.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, you know.
But we don't say, gosh, I'm going to go have a triple bypass to get healthy.
Yeah, for sure.
No. We say, I'm going to have a triple bypass because I need it and I can't breathe and my heart isn't working without it.
And then hopefully
we understand that there will be some erosion of health because of the surgery, and that with care we can bring ourselves back to the level of health and perhaps even better than we had before. But that has to do with lifestyle medicine, mind medicine, and story medicine, as well as serenity medicine, doesn't it?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Those are the things that always build health. So the things we have been talking about tonight are things that build health. And throughout our conversation, I have been pointing out the difference between the medicines that work but erode health and the medicines that work but improve health.
Okay. All right. Now, you know, one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight were herbs for healthy pregnancies as well as herbs to avoid while pregnant.
There are very few herbs that we need to avoid while pregnant.
Okay.
But there are a great variety of drugs that we should avoid while pregnant.
Okay.
Drugs can really injure us while we're pregnant. And actually, one of the things that is well poised to cause birth defects for, I would suspect, many of the listeners is heat.
Okay.
During the first 3 weeks of the pregnancy, most fetuses will be malformed if the woman sits in a sweat lodge or a sauna.
Yeah.
So this is a serious issue. This is why women were not invited in the sweat lodge during their fertile years. And, of course, all we get out of our bodies with sweat is minerals, no toxins. And so for a postmenopausal woman, sweating means she's losing bone mass. So there's really no reason of any kind for any woman of any age to ever go in any sweat lodge, especially when we remember that the sweat lodge is merely a fake moon lodge. And the moon lodge is indeed the place for women, and it is not a place where we would want to sweat. So that would be the primary thing that I would avoid. I would also avoid any kind of vitamin supplement, any kind of prenatal vitamin supplement. But I would be sure to drink nourishing herbal infusions. I would rotate through stinging nettle infusion, oat straw infusion, red clover infusion, linden infusion. I personally, and my daughter as well, drank comfrey leaf infusion during my pregnancy and continued to drink it during my life. And my daughter drank a great amount of comfrey leaf infusion because she was an older mom. She was past 40. And all of my students find comfrey infusion has no problematic side effects of any kind. I know that there is a lot of scaremongering about comfrey leaf, and that it is often mislabeled as Symphytum officinalis, which it's not. Raspberry leaf is also a wonderful infusion for women to drink during their pregnancy years. Now, if a woman wants to avoid pregnancy, the seeds of wild carrot can do that. And
okay.
My past apprentice, Robin Rose Bennett, I always say 2 N's, 2 T's, and she says, well, there's 2 E's too, and I say, yeah, but they're not together. Bennett, Robin Rose Bennett, is the person who has done the definitive work on looking at wild carrot and exactly how best to use it to prevent unwanted pregnancies.
Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah, we like natural birth control methods.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it doesn't mimic pregnancy, so it doesn't reduce your risk of ovarian cancer or breast cancer like birth control pills do.
Mm-hmm.
And again, for you, because you did ask those who don't want to take birth control pills and don't want to get pregnant, there are now intrauterine devices which are coated with progesterone, which, again, has the body somewhat believing that it's pregnant. Not as good, and the risk reduction is not as good from birth control pills, but there is at least a little risk reduction.
Okay, what do you think about neem oil for preventing pregnancy?
Poisons work.
Oh. Okay.
Neem oil is an essential oil. Essential oils are drugs. Drugs are poisons. Poisons will prevent and terminate pregnancies. It's true. They do, unfortunately, however, often kill the woman who takes it.
Okay.
I would far rather see a woman take safe birth control pills than to mess herself up with neem oil.
Wow. I've definitely seen more. I mean, you know, again, different strokes for different folks. But, yeah, I
one
back
thing
in
is
the
safe,
day,
the other thing is dangerous. One thing is a regulated drug in which we know the side effects. The other thing is an unregulated drug. Every batch is different. What is safe with one batch, the next batch may cause death.
what kind of negative side effects can neem oil bring about?
It's an essential oil. It destroys gut flora, and it can cause kidney damage and liver damage. In insufficient strength, it can shut down kidneys and liver and cause death. All essential oils are lethal at a large enough dose, and that dose is not that big. For most essential oils, it's about half a bottle.
Okay.
Children have died from mouthing bottles of essential oils, not even ingesting the oil, simply mouthing what's on the outside of the bottle. And bacteria do become resistant to essential oils. We have a great host of essential oil resistant bacteria now because these essential oils are being overused and misused.
Okay, I don't really know anyone that's used like a half a bottle or a half an ounce of essential oil in one sitting, though.
That's what I'm saying. Of course not. We wouldn't. And yet, we must understand that the substance we have in great enough quantity to kill two people.
Okay.
There is no amount of echinacea tincture that would ever kill anyone. There is no amount of raspberry leaf infusion that would ever kill anyone. There is no amount of red clover infusion that would ever kill anyone. There is nothing that I have mentioned tonight that could or would ever kill anyone.
Okay, so what natural means would you recommend for birth control?
Wild carrot seed and lesbianism.
Oh, well, there you go.
Lesbianism is actually completely foolproof. I have never known a lesbian to get pregnant if she didn't want to.
Yes, that is definitely true. What about...
it has tremendous health benefits as well. Usually improves most women's mood.
Definitely. Do you have an opinion on lemons to prevent pregnancy?
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
If you insist on being heterosexual, which I can understand, then the best birth control is for him to give his balls to the goddess. Vasectomy,
well,
I think
like
is what most people call it. But that's safe and it's effective. And many women go on to suffer severe consequences from having their tubes tied, so I do not recommend that. Whereas, in fact, it helps to prevent prostate cancer for a man to have a vasectomy.
Mm-hmm.
So it is definitely a positive health thing for him, very simple operation. All right, and not so simple an operation for a woman and can be severe health consequences for her. But that, again, is definitive. And, as I have suggested, birth control pills are highly effective and reduce your risk of ovarian cancer and breast cancer. So there's great, many different things to do there. But, lemon, sure. Acid slows sperm down. But that's all it does is slow them down.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
News and information you can trust. This is American Freedom Radio. Freedom, American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
All right, welcome back. Last segment here tonight on Soul Journeys Radio with Susun Weed, and my oh my, time went by really, really fast here. And I do see we have a caller on the line, so we'll get to you in just a second. But Susun was going to share with us the box method, so let's hear it.
Yes, this was given to me by a woman from India, and she said that where she lives, that what they use for birth control is the box method. And I said to her, I had never heard of it. And she said, well, you must have, your intimate relationship standing up, and he must stand on a box. And when he gets that look in his eyes, you must kick the box.
All right. Well, there we go. That sounds like
probably as effective as lemon.
At least. Or lesbianism. Definitely.
Okay, so we have a caller.
We do. Here we go. Looks like our friend Des, area code 417. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hi there. What do you have for us tonight?
I just have a question for Susan about her theories on drugs. I was really intrigued by it. You said that your theory is that drugs are something that cannot be made inside the home. But I'm thinking that people have been making essential oils inside their homes for like 1,000 years at least.
They have not. You cannot make an essential oil inside your home. I'm sorry.
You can make a distiller, though. People have been making distillers for a long time.
Distillers blow up and you don't keep them in your home.
So you keep them
have you visited a distiller?
Huh?
How many distillers have you visited?
I've seen them in breweries and things, and they're rather large there, but I've heard of people having them.
And I have seen distillers that individual people use to make essential oils, and they would never keep them in their home because the risk of fire and explosion is too high.
Okay. I mean, I've heard. I've never seen them. It's not something that can be done in a kitchen. You can make an absolute in your kitchen. Okay.
But you cannot make an essential oil.
Like I said, I've never seen it, but I've heard of friends who do have distillers in their homes, and they've used them before. But
you make absolutes. You don't make essential oils.
What's an absolute?
An absolute is not an essential oil. It's the step before an essential oil. It's what a home distiller can make.
Okay.
Something that's safe enough to have in your kitchen can only make an absolute. It cannot make an essential oil.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, and they still, whether they're drugs or not, they still kill your gut flora. They are antibacterial, antimicrobial, and antifungal. And they still do cause hormonal changes as greater than the ingestion of plastics and BPA. And they still do impair the immune system, whether they're drugs or not.
Okay.
So you might want to stick at whether or not it's a drug, and that's fine, but it doesn't change the horrible effects of essential oils.
Yeah, I know that most essential oils, or maybe all, are antibacterial and such, but I feel like I have a pretty strong gut flora. I eat lots of fermented foods and all these other things, and I also use essential oils daily.
A single dose of antibiotic will prevent the bioconversion of phytoestrogens for up to a month.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we've been talking about this evening, is using plants that have phytoestrogens to help prevent breast cancer. And we've established that they have to be bioconverted by gut flora, and that this class of substances, antibiotics, chlorine, food preservatives, and essential oils, destroy the gut flora that allows this process to happen.
So are you saying that essential oils are like antibiotics because they're
I'm saying that essential oils are antibiotics. They certainly am. And I'm saying that they're worse than antibiotics. They're like antibiotics on drugs. Because essential oils not only destroy gut flora, they also have hormonal effects. I have personally 2 students who have little boys who've grown breasts because of use of essential oils.
Do they also eat soy?
No, they do not.
Because I've heard that happening a lot with soy, even...
No, none of my students eat soy.
Okay.
No, this is strictly from essential oils, and this has been documented. There's hundreds and hundreds of cases of it in the United States because essential oils are hormonal disruptors.
Huh. They're
hormonal mimics. And they disrupt the hormones in our bodies in the same way that plastics do.
Yeah, don't birth control pills cause hormonal changes too?
They cause exactly the same hormonal changes that pregnancy does. You're right.
But how are they exactly the same?
Reduces your risk of cancer.
We can't make birth control pills in our kitchen.
I didn't say they weren't a drug. I never said they weren't a drug.
Huh.
But they don't cause cancerous changes. They do the opposite. They reduce the risk of cancer because, to put it rather bluntly, a woman's body is designed to be pregnant all the time. Now, I certainly didn't choose to use my body that way, and I'm certainly not saying that any woman should choose to use their body that way. But I do understand that when I'm not pregnant and when I'm not lactating, that I'm putting my body at risk of pregnancy, and that taking birth control pills helps me to avoid that risk. Now, I'm 20 years past menopause. It's certainly not a risk that I'm looking at all anymore.
Yeah.
During my fertile years, I was very glad to have access to birth control pills, and I'm very glad that I took them. And I encourage any woman who is concerned about ovarian cancer or breast cancer to consider them. Certainly they are drugs, and all drugs have side effects, but the side effects of birth control pills are far less than the side effects of essential oils.
I avoided getting pregnant for over a year by just being in harmony with the moon. We only have the ability
to become pregnant. Yeah, you avoided it for over a year. That's about how long it lasts.
Well, no, then I decided to become pregnant, so I became pregnant in harmony with the moon.
Most women, whether they decide or not, become pregnant after about a year on that kind of routine.
You only have about a week during every month where you can actually become pregnant, and it's when you're ovulating.
It's that week when you most want to get pregnant. Hello?
But it's that week that I avoid having sex because I know when I'm ovulating.
You gotta have to, really get a chastity belt there for most women because that's the very week they want most to have sex. And I agree, it can be done. But I will also tell you that I got pregnant while I was menstruating.
Wow, that's weird. I've never heard of that.
I have. About 10% of women can get pregnant while they're menstruating. We don't ovulate only once a month. And I met a 53-year-old woman who got pregnant 3 years after her last menses. So you might want to believe that your menstrual cycle is textbook and that you can control it, but I might be just a little bit older than you, and I might have seen just a little more of the world than you. And I might have had more experience in these to be able to tell you that this is not dependable. And that's all I'm saying.
No, I don't think anything is dependable or set in stone or textbook. I think life is way more crazy than that.
I didn't say anything about set in stone, but I am telling you that wild carrot seed is dependable. And I have mentioned wild carrot seed and Robin Rose Bennett several times this evening.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool. I'm pregnant now, and I love it. So
good.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, I'm just noticing, I don't know why it always happens this way, but we have 2 more callers on the line and only 2 minutes left. So.
Okay, bye. Thanks for answering my question.
Yeah, thanks so much for calling in, and let's see what else we can fit in here.
Hey, what do we got? 3 minutes here.
272, welcome to the show. Oh, do we have a live one there? Area code 417.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can.
Yes, we can. We got about 1 minute before we get hung up on here. So what's your question?
Oh, thank you. I was curious about slippery elm and what it is good for and how you would use it. But also my daughter has a mucousy, sore throat, hurting chest, cough, and she gets it every spring, of course. And I just wanted to ask what basic advice you would give to someone who suffers with allergies and always gets kind of a chest cold from them.
Well, I'm not going to be able to answer you in detail, so what I'd like to do is to refer you to YouTube. And you will find a YouTube of me making slippery elm balls and talking about them. You'll also find a YouTube of my granddaughter on her own at 5 years old making slippery elm balls and talking about why she likes them. I have a DVD called Chronic Problems. And in my DVD on chronic problems, I give quite a good explication of the kinds of things that I think are important for people who are dealing with various sorts of allergies, but especially pollen allergies and environmental allergies.
Well, thank you so much. I love both of you women so much and everyone on the call, and I am going to buy probably all of your products. I'm a huge fan now, so thank you for introducing me to Susan, Justine.
You are welcome, and please do visit the Wise Woman Book Shop. And at the Wise Woman Book Shop, you can find all 5 of my books, as well as access to my correspondence courses and everything else.
I will probably be a student of yours this summer.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thanks so much for calling in. We have, let's see, I don't hear the music yet, so I'm going to see if we can fit one more caller in. Here we go. You got 30 seconds. Do you have a quick one?
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifilan brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifilan. There's nothing else like Modifilan. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifilan banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
You're listening to the future of talk. American Freedom Radio. This is American Freedom Radio.